the way here, my computer fell out of my hands. The good news is I was able to grab this plate. Seriously, I didn't realize what I was holding. Two things just came out. So I grabbed the plate, my computer fell down and broke. So that's the good news. I got the plate. Baruch Hashem, unharmed. So that's why we're a couple of minutes late. Min hashamayim. We're not supposed to finish the daf today. Today's shir is being sponsored by Yossi Klein from Superior Plumbing in Muncie. Thank you for all you do for Klal Yisrael. He actually just sent an email the other day, maybe I'll read it later, that he wants to host the Siyum in Muncie, represent Muncie. So we're going to be discussing that. We have to come up with a plan and we'll divvy it up. We have a very appropriate email, just one email just for today, because today is Shiv Asar B'Tammuz. I received this email a couple days ago from Lev. You probably remember him. He's in the process of Gerus in South Africa. Dear Rabbi, I felt your tears this morning. The whole pandemic has been a very big learning curve for me in terms of Yiddishkeit. The day I can go back to shul, I will treat the shul with more reverence and awe and be more appreciative and grateful. Sorry. Better? I must confess, of two of my sins, I'm a very foolish person. I could never... Lev he's on YouTube every day. I mean on Zoom. You could see him. He's there. He's a great guy. Listen to what he says. He can never relate to Tisha B'Av. I never understand the mourning of the Beis HaMikdash and can never relate to it. Why I say I'm a foolish person? Because I've never wanted Mashiach to come because it's not in my interest. He's saying a very good taina. I still want to complete my conversion, learn Torah, find the shidduch, stand under a chuppah and get married, and raise children in the ways of Hashem, and have grandchildren, great-grandchildren, who will follow Hashem, and I myself would like to become a Talmid Chacham. I know if Mashiach comes, this can never happen. May Hashem forgive me for this. I can never mourn the Beis HaMikdash because I never understood the concept of it and its relevance. But now Hashem has taught me this through lockdown. Shuls have been closed and there are no minyanim anymore. Life was a paradise in Olam Haba before lockdown. Every day we went to shul before work, and after work we came back to shul and stayed late for learning, and at night we would learn the daf. Now that everything has stopped, I'm heartbroken. I can now understand why the rabbis mourn the Beis HaMikdash and why they want Mashiach. If going to shul brings such joy, listen to this, guy from South Africa. If going to shul brings such joy, I can only imagine what having a Beis HaMikdash feels like. Based on this, I no longer care about serving my own self-interest, religious inspirations, and I want Hashem's will, and I pray that things should go back to normal and go back to shul, and for one day to see Mashiach and rebuild the Beis HaMikdash. Lev, gewaldige email. All right, we have a lot of work, but Beis Hashem by tomorrow we'll be caught up. Very short daf. So we learned the Mishnah that if you have a kli that broke, so we have machloikis. What exactly you need to do? Let's see if I have that picture. According to the Tanna Kama, you don't have to use that kli, the broken piece, for the original use. Even if it has some other use, like you could plug up a bottle, it could be a bottle cap, that's also good enough for a kli. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, it has to be valid, it has to be a kli for the same exact reason it started out. So if it's a bowl, you have to be able to put some cereal in it, something. You can't just say, oh, it's a bowl and I'm going to use it for a bottle cap. Says the Gemara like this. We're holding by Gemara. Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel, Machloikes, Kuf Chav Dalet Amud Beis, by the Gemara. Today's daf Kuf Chav Hey Amud Aleph. It'll be a nace if we turn the page. That's our goal. Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel, Machloikes Shenish Beru Erev Shabbos. The whole machlokes is, when did this bowl, plate break? Erev Shabbos. The Marsov, our Rabbi Yehuda holds, me'ein melachton in, me'ein melacha acheres loy. It has to retain its same purpose. Umarsov, otherwise, if it doesn't retain the same melacha, then it's not a kli anymore. It's a broken vessel. It loses its shame kli. Umarsov afilu me'ein melacha acheres. It's not true. Chacham say, even if it can't do exactly the same thing as it did before, it's still a kli. A kli is a kli. Avol nishbur b'Shabbos. So this is the havamina of the Gemara. If it broke on, this is because it broke before Shabbos. But if it broke on Shabbos itself, direi kol mutarin, Why? If it broke on Shabbos, hoil muchanim al gabi avim mutar. Since Shabbos came in, and it was a kli, it was part of a kli. So yes, it broke, but I don't lose a shame kli over Shabbos. That's what the Gemara understood. Rav Zutroi asked, Masikim bekelim. It says that on Yontif, you could use, so you have, here, this is a wooden kli, right? I got something wood from home. Baruch Hashem, it's saved, it didn't break, like my computer. I'm allowed to take this, toss it into a fire on Yontif. Ve'ein masikim b'shivrei kelim. If this piece broke off, so I cannot use this for fuel, for firewood. Why? Because this is Muktzah. Everybody agrees that this little piece is Muktzah. I can't do anything with it. Says the Gemara, let me ask you a question. When did it break? You're telling me that in our Mishnah it broke before Shabbos. So what about here? If it broke on Erev Yontiv, what is the problem? What's wrong with this? This is firewood like any other firewood. It must be that if it broke on Yontif. Yet it says you cannot use this. Now, in other words, we don't say the concept that, if it broke on Shabbos, it's muchan agav avim. We said before that in our Mishnah it seems like if it broke on Shabbos, this is considered a kli. Why? Because when Shabbos came in, it was one kli, and just because it broke, the name kli remains on it. All of a sudden now on Yontif, the name kli doesn't remain on it. There's no man d'omer that holds that according to you. Says the Gemara, you're right. Therefore, I have to switch our Mishnah to make sense of that Mishnah. Eli Itmar Hachi Itmar. Where's Machloikis Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim when the kli broke on Shabbos? Rabbi Yehuda says this is not considered a kli, this broken piece, unless it can function as its original function and function as a plate or as a bowl. The Marsovar, the Tanakama holds Muchanu. At the end of the day, when Shabbos came in, this little piece was part of the kli, so this little piece doesn't lose its name kli over Shabbos. Umar Sovar Noiladu. Says Rabbi Yehuda, there's a new halacha called Noilad. Noilad was born today on Shabbos. This little piece was part of a kli. But this little piece broke on Shabbos. It became a new kli. Before, it was part of a plate. Now, it's only good, let's say, to scrape something. So it's a new kli. It was created today on Shabbos. Anything that's created on Shabbos, says Rabbi Yehuda, is Noilad. It was born. And a born thing is Muktzah. We're going to see Rabbi Shimon argues on him, but Rabbi Yehuda holds it's Muktzah. If it's Muktzah, I cannot use it, and I cannot, on Yontiv also, I can't throw it into a fire, because it's Muktzah. Avamer of Shabbos. So the exact reverse of how we started the sugya. In the beginning of the sugya, we said, on Shabbos is no machloikis. Now we're saying, on Erev Shabbos is no machloikis. Divrei hakol mutarim, why? This little piece now became a piece of firewood before Shabbos, and Memela, I could touch it on Shabbos. Tani chada on Yontiv. So let's just say this outside real quickly. Very simple. Sugya, we have Rabbi Yehuda we just mentioned. Rabbi Yehuda holds this little piece is called Noilad. So, according to Rabbi Yehuda, this large kli is not Muktzah on Yontif. Why? I could take this and throw it into the fire. I could toss my wooden bowl into a fire. This, on the other hand, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is 100% Muktzah because this is called Noilad. Then we have another man d'Amar. Reb Shimon says this is not Muktzah, obviously, and this is not Muktzah. If this is not Muktzah, certainly the big one is not Muktzah. Why is this not Muktzah according to Reb Shimon? Reb Shimon doesn't hold of Muktzah. He's very lenient in Muktzah. He holds of Muktzah, but he doesn't hold of the concept of Noilad. Noilad is not Muktzah. So this is not Muktzah. So I could toss this into the fire on Yontif. Now we have a third shita, that even this big kli, you're not allowed to toss it into the fire Yontif. What could be the reason for that? This is Reb Nechemia. Reb Nechemia, as we had yesterday, the day before, any kli must be used only for its original designation. Now this is designated to eat from, not to toss into a fire. Says Reb Nechemia, I have no permission to lift this up and toss it into fire because that's Muktzah right now. You could pick it up and bring it to the table to eat, but you cannot pick it up and put it into a fire because it's not its original shimush. Let's see the Gemara inside. Tani chada. So we have a three-way contradiction in the Brisa. One Brisa says, Masikim bekelim. What are you showing me? Oh, Mazel Tov. Gary got my computer to work again. Brand new. As if nothing happened. Hoidul Hashem Kitov Kilam Chaz. We have Gary. Unbelievable. What a chesed Hashem. Tani Chada, Masikim B'Kelim, Masikim B'Shivir Kelim. I could hear you. What, you have something intelligent to say?
No, just amazing what happened. You just turned the computer on.
Yeah, it's amazing. Mamish amazing. It's amazing. I can hear you. It's great. You should know that somebody told me yesterday that when we went back to the Beis Medrash, he stopped watching Zoom. Why? Because we don't have Avi, he tells me. That's what he tells me. I'm like, what? You like those comments in the middle? He goes, yeah, I like the, you were talking to Zoom. When you were home, you were talking to Zoom, and we had Avi, we had Noam. You go to Beis Medrash, you ignore us completely on Zoom. So I watch it later on YouTube. That's what he tells me. Okay. So Avi, people love you. Don't take all that criticism. You have to have thick skin. When you're popular like Avi, people are going to go after you. So we have one brayso that says you could use this as firewood, but not the broken pieces. That we said goes according to Rabbi Yehuda, that the broken pieces noilad. Another brayso says, you could touch broken pieces. That's Reb Shimon. Doesn't hold of noilad. There is no Muktzah. The third one, you just gave me a look, like how could that be? How could this be Muktzah on Yontif? The answer is, Ha Rabbi Yehuda, Ha Rabbi Shimon, Ha Rabbi Nechemiah. Rabbi Nechemiah is the one that holds that if I move any kli, it must be moved only for its original designation, for its original usage. And since you want to throw a perfectly good kli into the garbage, into the fire, like a Vigdor fold, it looks like in the background there's a big fire, that's the Beis HaMikdash on fire. So that is usher to do. Omar Rav Nachman, Hani livni di shtayur min binyana. You have these stones, bricks. You're on a construction site. Building is finished. Leftover material. Shari tatulinu. You're allowed to move them on Shabbos. Why? The chazul mizga alayu. Because they are royu to sit on. I can make a chair. You're going back in the day. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have these comfortable chairs. A nice stone is perfect. Even though it's like this size, so it's a good chair. Sharginu, once you pile them up nicely, then he's showing, hey, he's taking it to the next building site. This is not a chair anymore. This is a proper stone, also to move. Small piece of earthenware. What can I do with this? Well, in the chotzer, I have many usages for it. I have a lot of bottles that need caps here, like in this picture. So any piece of earthenware I can use right over here to cover a bottle. Great. So Rav Nachman says in the name of Shmuel, this halacha, Al b'karmelis loy. What are you going to do in a Carmelis? Carmelis is a very large street, like our street. Then it's not a Rosh Hashanah, not a Rosh Hashanah. No bottles laying around. No purpose for this. Muktzah. In other words, he differentiates between place and place. Rav Nachman Didei Omar. Sorry. No water today. Rav Nachman Didei Omar afilu b'karmelis. Avu b'shus rabim loy. So Rav Nachman argues on Shmuel, and he says, hey, I could use this if I'm sitting around in the Carmelis with my buddies on a bench, and there's some not nice spit on the ground, I'll take this piece and cover the spit. So it's nice for us. V'Rava Omar afilu b'shus rabim. Rava comes along and says that logically, forget about the usage, logically, if this is a good kli in my backyard, so a kli is a kli is a kli. I don't care if I take this kli. If you take a pen is a proper kli in an office, so you take it into Rosh Hashanah, it's not a kli anymore. Says Rav, it doesn't make sense. There's some problem. As soon as you get up, there's issues. You can move slower, it's not a problem. We'll wait. Yeah. Says the Gemara, a beautiful story. The Rava have a ka'azel beritka de mechayza. Rava was walking, Rashi says the name of a street, Taisa says it's a marketplace, like Rechov Chazanish. He was walking on Rechov Ritka, in Mechayza, in his city. Etavsei misana betina. His shoes got full of mud. That was the thing, they didn't have paved roads. Asa Shamei, listen, this is Rava, Galadar. one of the Bachar jumps, grabs a piece of cheres like this, a sharp thing, grabs Rav's shoe, starts scraping off the mud. Shakal chaspa v'kol mechaper lei. Ramu Rabbanan Kala. Nothing's changed, Rabbi says. It's the same thing today. All of a sudden you have the tzaddikim on the background. Shabbos! Shabbos! This is Rava, the Galadar. He's not saying anything to this Bachar. These tzaddikim are screaming Shabbos, mamish, screaming. Omar, he said beautifully, Lo mistaya lo gmiri. It's not bad enough that you never learned halacha in your life. Migmanami magmir. You're also teaching other people your halacha that you don't know. Unbelievable. So he explains to them, if we were in a backyard, in a courtyard, in a front yard, this little piece is good to cover something. So this is a kli. If this is a kli, I don't care. I'm in a Rishus Rabbim. Go ahead, use it. It's a kli for me. Remember this line. Somehow we have to... What's the line? It's not enough that you don't know anything. You teach other people your shtusim. You scream Shabbos like this. Read this. Just read these words with the translation. See, that's not so pashut. Meguvas chavetz means a barrel lid. Shenichtasa. Shenichtasa means that it broke into shreds. Says Rashi, that's not the pshat. The pshat is megufas chavis, the lid is 100% intact. The chavis nichtasa. So let's read it again. Megufas chavis, a lid of a barrel, shenichtasa, that the barrel broke into pieces. That's not the regular meaning. Rashi's forced to say this. Mutter l'talta b'Shabbos. So the lid, you're allowed to carry it, you're allowed to move it on Shabbos. I would think, since it has no usage, it's a bottle cap that the bottle disappeared, the bottle is broken. So what am I going to do with the bottle cap? Imagine you open up a bottle of wine, one of these, not the fancy bottles, the one that have a removable, what do you call it? Cap. Screw top, thanks. You remove it, and then all of a sudden the bottle falls on the floor and breaks. Now what are you going to do with this screw top? Nothing, it's garbage. It has zero purpose right now. So I think the same thing. This megufas achavis, this lid has no purpose now. You're allowed to move it on Shabbos. Again, the barrel broke. He ushvarel mutar l'talta b'Shabbos. You're allowed to move the megufa. You're allowed to carry all the broken pieces of the barrel. Why? V'lo yispois, says the Brisa, and don't take that piece of broken barrel and smooth it out. And you want to make it a nice smooth cover for something. That's called makeh b'patish, also. Now I'm going to take this, put this on as a shim for my bed. Also. What if I took this barrel cover and threw it into the garbage can? By me throwing it into the garbage can, I just made it into Muktzah. I reduced it from a kli to a non-kli by putting in the garbage. Putting in the garbage, I just stated to the world, I don't want this anymore. If I take my shirt and throw it into the garbage, did I just take my shirt? Because I announced to the world that I don't want it anymore, so it became garbage? My garbage is somebody else's shirt. Well, why is that how did I remove the name of a kli from it by putting in the garbage? Now read this together with me and tell me how you learn pshat. If I threw it out to the garbage, asura. Threw what out? The shirt that we're talking about? The cover that we're talking about. Why? Because you're looking in the art scroll? Why? So let me, okay, great. So you looked in the art scroll. I appreciate that. So if you throw the cover out into the garbage before Shabbos, it's not a kli anymore. And what if I threw a shirt out into the garbage on Erev Shabbos? What's the halacha? So because you have to be medaik in the art scroll, because the art scroll says that if I throw the cover into the garbage, the cover is not a kli anymore, mashma from the art scroll, that if I throw a shirt into the garbage Erev Shabbos, it remains a shirt. Only a cover doesn't remain. In fact, that's what Taisvis says, the art scroll got from Taisvis. So it doesn't work if I throw a shirt into the garbage, even on Thursday, it's still a kli. I can't take a perfectly good hammer and throw it into the garbage can and say, oh, it's not a kli anymore, because I threw it in the garbage. It's a hammer. I don't care where you put it. It's a hammer. So if I take a shirt and throw it in the garbage, it's still a shirt. Now, a big nafkamina for us, la halacha, let's say a Coke bottle. I'm done with the Coke bottle. So if I throw it out on Friday, so I'm saying it's not a kli anymore. But on Shabbos, I cannot reduce it into a non-kli, so it remains a kli. But here's what's very, very interesting. I found this fascinating. What about a plastic cup? A plastic cup on Shabbos. I drank from it. I'm done with it. It's on the table. My wife is about to take that disposable tablecloth and throw it into the garbage. What halacha does this plastic cup have? Is it a kli or is it done? I'm done with it. It's garbage. Machloikis, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach and Rabbi Yashiv. Rabbi Yashiv says, since b'shas adchak, if I run out of dishes, I don't have anything, I could take that plastic cup and give it a nice rinse. And I know people that do it. They save. In fact, I'll tell you this ma'isa. I actually came prepared with this because when I was reading it, I remembered a great ma'isa. It's a very long ma'isa. I'm not going to say it because we're very, very short on time, but it's a great ma'isa. There was a guy that actually was able to get to me, a Yerushalmi guy. My father told him to come to me, and my father asked me if I could open up the door for him. At, I forgot what time, maybe 8:30 at night or something. And at 2 in the morning, the guy was still in my house, refused to leave. So what happened was that his wife was dying from cancer, and his daughter was getting married in a month or something, whatever, something like that. I remember he had no money, and he's a Rebbe, a very popular Rebbe in Bet Shemesh. So he said, so then he left. I said, okay, I'll help you out. So he left, and then I realized, wait a minute, it's like 2 in the morning. I said, how are you getting home? He goes, I'll walk. But he lives, miles from my house. So I drove him home. That was a big mistake, because when I got to his house, he said, you have to come into my house. So I came into his house, and I couldn't believe it. He took me into the kid's bedroom, and this wasn't prepared. And this is what I have a picture of. I took a picture. This is a picture that I made $50,000 with, because I went the next week to America. I decided, okay, I'm going to help this guy out. I flew to America with Mayor Koenig, and we collected money. In 3 days, we collected $50,000 for this guy. With this picture. Here's the picture. It's 8 children. Well, in the picture, you only see 6. Here's a child in a stroller. That's how they sleep. Here's 3 boys in one bed. 1, 2, 3. This is how a Yerushalmi family lives. So I took this picture, and people couldn't believe it, and they gave the money, and it turns out that the wife was nifter right before the wedding. 7 days before the wedding. During Shiv, I think, was the wedding. Well, so why am I saying this story? Because it's a very long story. But they asked me to do Shever Brachas for him after I raised the money and everything. So I did Shever Brachas in my house. And I'm done with the Shever Brachas. We bought very nice dishes, chat pami, disposable dishes, threw it all out. He says, we don't do that. He went to the garbage and took all the garbage out. All the dishes, all the plastic and everything, and he brought it home dirty, and he rinsed it out, and he tells me that he has a gemach for these dishes. These are so beautiful, these dishes, even though they're chat pami, they use it in his neighborhood. So, says Rabbi Yashiv, going back to this, says Rabbi Yashiv that if it's a chat pami, it's a disposable dish, that I could wash it b'shas adchak, like that guy, b'shas adchak. So therefore, it's considered a kli. For some reason, that went off. So, does that mean they don't hear me anymore? They do? Okay. But Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says, once you're done using it, it's garbage, even on Shabbos, shalom. Okay. Says the Gemara, top of Kuf Chafei. Im zarkom abaydoy laashpo asuro. If he threw it into the garbage, this thing into the garbage, which reminds me of another story, but we don't have time. I'll say it anyways, just to get Noam upset. Elchanan Feinstein borrowed all my ski clothes. I hope he's watching. He's the guy that almost died from corona. We were saying Tehillim for him. He asked me if he could borrow my ski clothes. I said yes. All my ski clothes, my goggles, everything. And then he comes back from his ski trip. So I call him up like 2 days later. I said, Elchanan, can I have my cleathes back? I have to go. He goes, I gave it back to you. I said, no, you didn't. He says, yeah, I put it in front of your door. It turns out he put it in a garbage bag in front of my door. So my cleaning lady took the garbage bag and tossed it into the garbage. And there went all my ski clothes. So I was moichel him, fine, when he was about to die from corona. I said, okay, fine, I'll be moichel you this time. Omar Shmuel, look, his computer just died. The funniest thing, he made my computer work, but it's working through my computer? Great. It is working, just no screen. No screen. These computers, they're both the same computers, by the way. They felt. Omar bar Hamduri, Omar Shmuel, says bar Hamduri. Krumiyos shel machzelas mutar l'talchum Shabbos. You have a reed mat, and parts of it fall out, little pieces. We're talking about broken pieces of kelim. You're allowed to move them on Shabbos. My taima, Omar Rava bar Hamduri Asberli. Hamduri explained to me, machzelas gufa l'maychazi. What do you do with the reed mat? L'chasui be'afra. Cover something with it. Cover, let's say, there's waste on the floor, so you put dirt on it. You don't want the dirt to fly away. You cover it. So these small pieces also are there to cover waste or whatever. Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Zera, Amar Rav, Shiorei Pruzmiyois also Tatum Shabbos. Rav says that if you have a talis, shel mitzvah, says Rashi, big nafkamina, it's not just a garment, it's a mitzvah clothing. In other words, I go to shul with it. So the leftovers, not allowed to move it on Shabbos. Meaning, it's a very, says the Gemara, we're talking about very small pieces of the talis that are less than 3 fingers by 3 fingers. Even a poor person throws it out. However, what Rashi is trying to say here is that since it's a talis shel mitzvah, you don't do things with it. But let's say it's another type of clothing, you would be able to use it less than 3 by 3 to wipe something down or whatever. Tanar Rabbanon, Shivrei, Tanur Yoshon, Harem, Kechol HaKelim, and Yitolim B'chotzer. So now we're going into a sugya of Tanur. So, in those days, just to explain what's going on here, in those days they took a cylinder of earthenware. It was open on the top, open on the bottom, and they put it on the ground. And they would put clay all around the bottom, so it was one with the ground. Now you throw some coals into the bottom of the cylinder. The coals are laying on the ground. La mashaneh. All the heat is stuck in the cylinder because you already put clay on the bottom of it. And then you put food on the top or bread on the sides, like this picture. You can put bread on the side. It's not important what you do. The issue is whether or not the heat is contained in the cylinder. So, if it's on the ground and you put clay, it's contained. There's another way to do it, and that is you have a hole in the ground, and you put this cylinder in the hole in the ground. Now, many times the hole in the ground is slightly larger than the cylinder. So you have to put it in a shim made out of a stone. You put it in a shim. This red guy is a shim. But what does that mean? It means that all around the top surface, there's room for the heat to escape. So it's not really it's not delivering the full amount of heat because it's not a good seal on top. So, says the Gemara, Shivrei Tanur Yashan. Tanur Yashan just means that if you took this piece of earthenware, it's not a real oven until you heat it up for the first time. We know that, right? What happens when you heat it up for the first time? It hardens, it becomes a kli. So Yashan, in this, it doesn't mean it's 25 years old. Yashan means it's past that stage of hardening. In other words, it already had Hesek Rishon. It was already heated up one time. So if you have broken pieces, says Rameir says these pieces, you could do whatever you want. You could cover bottles with them. It's part of a kli. And the kli remains a kli even though it broke, so I can use it for bottle caps. No. So the Gemara is going to explain what the machlokes is. Rabbi Yehuda says you cannot move them. They are muktzah. Hey, Rabbi Yosef Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Who's Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov? Kavanaki. Mishnasa Kavanaki, all over shots. Whatever he says is perfect. That's the halacha. So if you have a testimony from him, it's good stuff. Hey, Rabbi Yosef Mishum Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov al Shivri Tanur Yoshan Shenitolim b'Shabbos. Like Rabbi Meir, that you could move them on Shabbos. Val Kisuyav, and on a lid she'eni tzorach beis yad. You're able to move the pot, the oven cover. We'll have a picture of it tomorrow without a handle. You don't need a picture for this, but you don't need a handle. I'm able to move it from the side. I don't need a handle. I can pick it up without it. But my kamifligi, what's going on here? What's the machlokes? Perhaps it's a machlokes whether, like Rabbi Yehuda says, l'shitasai, it has to be able to perform the same melacha that it performed before. Now this tanur is broken. Va'azda Rabbi Yehuda l'tamei, and Rabbi Yehuda is l'shitasai. That once it breaks, now it becomes something new. Something new is called noilad noilad is a muktzah, Remeir l'tamei. And he says, no, Remeir, all of a sudden we call him Remeir. If you notice, in the beginning of the sugi, he had no name. It was Chachamim. But Chachamim, who argues with Rabbi Yehuda all the time in Shas? It's Rabbi Yehuda Remeir. So when you have a Stam Mishnah, it's Remeir arguing with Rabbi Yehuda. So over here, here's his name, Rabbi Meir l'tamei. Remeir is the Chachamim, or he is Chachamim, who say that this piece of earthenware, since it could do something else, it remains a kli. Maskiv lo rava. Ihachi, we have to remember this question because the Gemara is going to go back to this question and answer it. Ihachi, ademifli b'shivri tano or lufli b'shivri kelim ba'alma. Why is there a machlokes about an oven? It's a complicated sugya. Oven, in the ground, not in the ground, we'll see soon. But it's an oven. Just say, any kli in the world, forget oven. Why are you limiting this machlokes to an oven? There's many other kelim called bowls and plates and everything else that's made out of earthenware. There's a machlokes in something completely different. In this sugya, we start explaining it. It's not. If you take this cylinder and you put it on top of a pit, in other words, it's an extension to my cylinder. Here's my cylinder in gray, and it extends lower down for whatever reason. V'nasan sham even, and I wedged a stone between my cylinder and the wall and the dirt. Here's the red stone for demonstration purposes. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, im masik milamato vunisoik milamalo tome. If I put a flame on the bottom and whatever I put on top is cooked, what if I go away for 4 days and my bread is still raw? So the flame didn't do anything. Vimlav tar, this oven doesn't have a name of a kli, and it's tar. It doesn't matter. Any way you use it, if it becomes tamei. So the machlokes starts from this pasuk. That what? It says in the pasuk, tanur v'chirayim yutatz. You have to break. I like there's a very nice word in the art scroll, and they translate demolish, and that's a beautiful word. Why? Because demolish is not breaking. I translated myself yutatz, to break it, demolish, to completely obliterate it, gone. So if you have an oven and it became tamei, a sheretz touched it, it's earthenware. What do you do with earthenware? Nothing. There's no mikveh. There's nothing. Yutatz, demolish it. Tmeim heim. They are, now, this concept, says the Gemara, of demolishing something, is when it's attached to the ground, I could demolish something that's attached to it. What do? You demolish a house. I don't know that you demolish a cup, a glass cup. The lashon demolish doesn't work so well. That's why I like the word. You demolish, yutatz, fits in very well, says Rabbi Yehuda, when it's attached to the ground. It's part with the ground. Hey, Rutmeim lochem. Rabbi Yehuda savar mechusar netitza tamei. So if it's part of the ground, then it's tamei, it's mekabel tumah. Shem mechusar netitza tahar. If it's not part of the ground, then it's not a kli. In other words, it has to be mechuber to the ground. Either way, it doesn't have to be mechuber, it's mekabel tumah. Ask the Gemara, what do they do with this very powerful word? Demolish, mashma that's on the ground. The Rabban said the exact opposite. They're saying any kli, any tanur is considered a kli, even if it's attached to the ground. Not only attached to the ground, even if it's attached to the ground, demolish it. Says the Gemara, the sol kedai dechamina. Why would they say this? Why do you need a word for it? The kivin the chavri ba'ara kiguva da'aradami. Maybe it's not an oven at all. It's connected to the ground, so the ground can't become tummy. So it's part and parcel with the ground, part and parcel with the ground. No tumah. Kamash one says the pasuk, it's still an oven, still mekabel tumah. V'lechnami yoksiv tmeim yulachem. Like it's mashma anyway. Ahikad Rav Yehuda Mashmuel, Rav Yehuda Mashmuel, machlokes behesek rishon. The whole machlokes is when you light it up for the first time, you harden it for the first time. Ava behesek sheni, but once it's hardened and it's a kli, I feel it totally b'tzaver gamel. It's just a mushal. In other words, it's suspended in midair. How? On the neck of a camel. Whatever, you can spend it on anything. So since even if it's suspended in the ear, since it had a hesek rishon, it was already hardened, it's already kli, then it's mekabel tuma. Omar ula, the hesek rishon l'rabbanon, afilu talui b'tzavar gamol. So according to Rabbanon, no, it's mekabel tuma even by the first hesek. You don't need the hesek rishon to be mechubel karka. Maskiv lo Rav Ashi yihachi ad mifligi b'shivri tanur lifligi b'tanur gufa. So why are we talking about a broken oven? We have a machlokes in the oven itself. How do you make an oven? Hesek rishon? Do you need a hesek rishon? Not a hesek. So the whole machlokes is the oven itself, nothing to do with broken pieces of the oven. Says the Gemara, hashatar gufa l'Rabbi Yehuda le'avim mana shvarim mebaya. He says that a full oven, full-fledged oven that's not attached to the ground, you didn't have a good first hardening, then it's not an oven. So certainly broken pieces. So we're going back to the first pshat. We are talking about an oven, broken pieces of an oven. Now you ask me then, so why are we talking about broken pieces of an oven? Talk about any broken piece of any kli, any earthenware. Why do you pick oven? I'll tell you why we picked oven. There's a special chiddush here. Uba'isa maisa tapka. We're talking about he took a broken piece of oven. Here's a broken piece of oven illustrated in brown. And now he's baking bread on a flat surface. Yeah? Here are the coals underneath flat. So what's the chiddush? V'remeir l'dvarav the Rabbi Yehuda kamar. V'remeir l'dvarav the Rabbi Yehuda kamar. And Remeir is talking to Rabbi Yehuda. He's not mechulah. He's saying, "Lididi afilu ba'isem me'im milacha." I am l'shitasi that a broken piece of earthenware doesn't have to function as its original use. It could function as any use. Forget about it. Of course, this is considered a kli. But according to you, that you say that has to function. If a bowl breaks, you have to be able to put a little cereal in it. Okay. So what about this broken oven? Aren't you going to admit to me, okay, it's a shtickle sideways, a little crooked, but it's performing its original malacha. I'm going to have nice lafa when I'm done. So what's wrong with that? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda le'dami. Nope, it's not performing the same way. Over there, the flame was inside. Here, flame inside the oven, and over here the flame is outside. Another problem is, the bread. The bread, look at the bread, it's inside the oven. Whereas over here, the bread is on top of the oven, right over here. Another problem is, over here the bread is standing up vertically, and over here it's laying down. Not the same melacha. Hey, Rabbi Yosef, Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Asher Tanu Yashon. We said this already. Who holds? Who's the one that says you're allowed to carry the tops of a kalim, the covers of a kalim, the lids of a kli? The elam beis achiza don't have a handle. And that's the halacha is always like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, that shivrei, that a lid doesn't need a handle. Says the Mishnah, beautiful sugya. Ha'even should be kiruya. So, the way it used to work is you have a pail, you go into a well. Now, the pail, if you think about it, if you put a pail into a well, it's not going to go into the water. It's going to float on the top. So what they did was they put a little stone. Now, I'm not excited about this picture because over here the stone looks like it's on the bottom of the pail. If you read Rashi, and it makes a lot of sense, it seems like the stone is on the lid, on the top. And what that does is it flips the pail over, and then water goes in, and then eventually it straightens out. The way he depicts it here, not important. It just seems like very difficult for the pail to go in. You'd have to put a huge stone for it to pull the pail all the way down below the surface of the water. You know what I'm talking about? If you put the stone right over here, it would be a lot smarter, and that's what Rashi says. You put on the lid, and then it already tips it over, fine. Lo Mishana, that's not important for now. If If the stone is stuck in the kli. So now, a stone we said is muktzah machmas gufay. It itself is inherently muktzah. So how do I make the stone not muktzah? If it doesn't fall out of the dli, so it becomes part of the pail. Then mimalim ba I can use it. Vimlav a mimalim ba. If it falls out, you cannot use it. Zmoira. What about a twig? Here's a twig that grabs a pail. We just turned to Daf Kuf Chofes Summon Bays, sponsored by Official Firm Official Catering. Shikshur b'tafiach mimalim ba b'Shabbos. So now the twig became part of the pail. You could use it on Shabbos. Pekaka chaloin. Here, beautiful picture. I have some sort of tris. What is this called in English? A shutter. Very good. A shutter. So now you see how he drew it. If it's hanging by some sort of chain and it's ready to go in, it's all part of the house. Great. But if it's sitting on the bottom like this, then it's no good. In a shutter. If it's suspended, poking by. That's not considered baina. Why? It's there like any shutter. You roll down the shades, whatever. Vimlav ain't poking by. So Rabbi is of the opinion that if it's sitting on the ground, not hanging, that's considered baina. I'm building my house. I'm closing up a wall. Who cares if it's hanging, not hanging? Everybody knows why it's sitting there. It's there to close up the window. Not awesome. Even shal piachovis. So we have a similar shaila l'chayra. We have a barrel, and on top of the barrel, a person put a stone. What's the halacha? Mata al tzida b'noy felas. Now, I can take the barrel, move it to the side. It's tilted min atzad. The stone falls off. Better yet, says Rashi. What if I'm scared that if the stone falls off, it'll hit another barrel, explode? So I lift the entire barrel up with the stone, move it to the side, then I tilt it, and the stone falls off. Omar Rabbi, Omar Rabbi Ami, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, we must remember this name, says Rabbi Ami, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi and Rabbi Ami say in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Lo yishanu ela b'sheicheach. We had this halacha many times before, that this is only in the similar, not exact, but that's if the stone was left there by accident. But if you put the stone there on purpose before Shabbos, now the barrel became a base to a stone, and you're not allowed to move the stone. You're not allowed to move the barrel. You can't tilt the barrel. Rav Yosef Amar Rabasi, and Rav Yosef says in the name of Ravasi. So we have a machlokes Reb Ami and Ravasi. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, what Rabbi Yochanan said, Lo yishanu ela b'sheicheach. Yes, this whole halacha is only said when he forgot. That matches the first Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Ami's Rabbi Yochanan. Avo b'maniach nasa kisur lechavis. He says the exact opposite. This stone becomes a cover to the barrel. I wanted it there. I put it there on purpose. Adarabba. It's so good. It's a real cover to a barrel, and therefore I can move it lechatchila on Shabbos. I can just lift it up. I don't have to tilt it. I can just take it off. It's a cover. Says Rabbi. Rabbi is the one that says the first Rabbi Yochanan. Omar Rabbi, Omar Rabbi Ami, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, that if you forget it, if you put it there on purpose, it becomes a basis, it's muktzah. Says Rabbi, I could ask you a question from our Mishnah. On myself. What about a stone that's inside a pail? Now Rabbi Yochanan just said it's not part of, it's muktzah. Why is it muktzah? I have a stone on top of a chavis. It should be like a stone on top of a pail. If it's in a pail, I said it's not muktzah. I could draw water. So why can't I take the stone and toss it or whatever? Says the Gemara, not a good question. Hasam kivin the hatko shavia doifen. Look at this picture. As Yoni drew it so beautifully. There's a nice. It's tied down nicely. This ropes everywhere. So that becomes part of the pail. But over here, just a stone laying on top of a chavis, it's not part of the chavis. Omar Rabbi Yosef, what about myself? I had a different pshat in Rabbi Yochanan. I said that Rabbi Yochanan holds that it's the opposite of a basis. It becomes the cover of the barrel, and therefore it's not muktzah at all. I can ask a question of myself from our Mishnah. It says in Lav, if it's a stone that's going to fall off out of the pail, I cannot draw water. It became part. We just said that the stone is not muktzah at all. How come the stone in the pail is muktzah? Velohi. It's not a good question. Hasam kivin delay hatko, in the pail, you didn't, it's not in there, so it's not roy at all. What's going to happen as soon as you put it into the well, it's going to fall out of your pail into the bottom of the well. Batuli batlo, so you don't care about it. So it's still muktzah. However, in our case, I'm using it right now to cover the barrel, and therefore it's not muktzah. Says the Gemara, so what's the machlokes between Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi? In Rabbi Yochanan, Marsa v'arbein and Maisa, I have to do something physical with the stone. I can't just put a stone on a barrel and say, oh, it's part of the barrel. But look, if I put it in a pail and I tie it down, that's a great Maisa. Marsa v'arbein and Maisa. That's the machlokes. Vazal tamayu d'chiyasa Rav Dimi Omer Reb Chanina, Ba'amri lo Omer Reb Zeira Omer Reb Chanina. Pamachas holach Rebbe l'mokim echad. We had a similar sugya. Once Rabbi came somewhere, and he found a whole pile of stones. On Friday, I wanted to go out there and have in mind that we're going to use these stones as chairs. And he didn't require them to take action, physical action. So this is machlokes, whether Rabbi made them take action. My Omarlu, what was going on over there? Rabbi Omar, Tzu v'lamdum Omarlu. He said, go straighten it out. In other words, straighten it out so that tomorrow I shouldn't have to touch these stones, so we could sit down without touching them. This shouldn't be muktzah. Why? Because I can't make them into chairs right now just by thinking about it. I need to take action. Take action. Wipe them down. Wiping down, yes, it's very weak in terms of a true action, but nevertheless it's an action. And that action is enough to make these a chair. Itmar, Rabbi Yossi ben Shaul Omer, Svar shel koros hava. We're talking about a bunch of beams. Rabbi Yochanan ben Shaul Omer, Goshes shel svina hava. No, this was a nice pole. We had this before. There's like a beam that the guys on the boat, the front of the boat, they stand and they want to see how deep the water is. Okay, that's like an expensive device. This goshoish, which has value to it, if Rebbe said, I could use this on Shabbos with just a slight hachana, certainly a piece of wood from the lumberyard, no, that's an expensive boat device that you don't typically use, and that would be muktzah on Shabbos. Rabbi, have a wonderful day. Nachman, a shtickle, tell him please. Huh? What's his last name? Harry who? Pell? No, Pele maybe. Pell, I don't know. Yeah? Harry Pell. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. I don't know you should